UCMC. The topic of the next press briefing is Justice Reform in Action, Results of Ukrainian Contest, Open Court Reporters. Stanislav Batryn, Director of the Project Open Court. Stanislav Kravchenko, Deputy Chairman of the High Specialized Court of Ukraine. Iryna Ozymok from Western NIS Enterprise Fund. Leonid Lazebnyi, lawyer, and Oksana Tsymbrivska, expert at the EU project. The floor is yours. I would like to start saying that it's a pleasure to present not what we are planning to do, but what has been done within this year. And it is important that next to us, there are organizations that support us in our movement toward changes of the judicial system. The Supreme Court and the High Specialized Court understand that without realistic changes in the judicial system, we can lose the country. The Project Open Court is unique and is implemented in Ukraine, and the activists, more than 400 people, register different judicial processes. After that, the video material is accessible for 46 million people, and unlike what the legislators doing, it's great that in Ukraine there are some changes taking place, but we believe that the changes, amendments without implementation mean nothing. And instead of passing the law, the Project Open Court concentrates its attention on standards of justice for judge, lawyer, and prosecutor, because the court is this triangle of justice. Three participants are responsible for whether there will be fair trial or not. And I would like to give you some specific examples. If we show a small video which registers the example of negative behavior of the judge. So today more than 100,000 people learn about this situation. That is a huge impact on this judge who is on this or that court. That's reputation, not just today, because reputation is the reputation for 10, 20 years ahead. And what's happening in settlements where there are 30, 40,000 of population, everyone knows about such negative cases, and that's a huge pressure from inside. So I would like to differentiate. There's legislation, regulations. It is important to improve it, but what Ukraine is doing now, it's basically something that affects the business reputation. We lost this understanding of what is business reputation about, but now we are developing the standards of the profession. It's not just for the judge, for the prosecutor who comes not ready for the case and does not care about what would happen with the person and the same way it's true about lawyers. Talking about statistical information, this year we have registered about 2,000, or videoed about 2,000 cases, and there were many people involved into this independent monitoring, more than 20 universities, which today probably are talking about theory of law. More than 20 universities have become the partners of the Project Open Court, implementing the practical standards of justice. These are more than 50 courts in Ukraine that signed an agreement about the partnership with the project. And this is a great impulse, a great signal for us. And I would like to mention that the President of the Supreme Court, and here we have the Deputy President of the High Specialized Court, Supreme Specialized Court, when the branch of justice understands that there should be a professional approach to justice, that the door for public should be open, because that's the only instrument that can help us create independent judicial system. And I would like to emphasize that we are like experts, not just like we are like association of lawyers. Now, the representatives of mass media, we would like to demonstrate two examples of negative justice and two of positive. Out of 2,000 videos, we selected those which would represent the results of our work. Ivano-Frankivsk court. Yes, witness, listen, hit him, but I cannot do that here. In your presence, he accuses me. I believe that you are provoking me. Are there any more questions? No. No. I will talk to you after the sitting, and we will talk who has...
Продемонструйте приклади.
Now the examples of positive justice. Kiev Administrative Court of Appeal. What can you say, the representative? So you submitted the requirement, you accepted the requirement in May? Well, the 1st of May. 1st of May, you accepted the requirement? 1st of May, you accepted the requirement, and 1st of January, you also do that? No, not in January. And what about the 1st of May? That's the day off, always. Commercial Court of Kiev. Publicity, that's what we need. The judicial process needs publicity. All the claims you have, in some part they will be settled, and that is good for you. Well, you shouldn't be objecting as to the judicial process. If you feel comfortable being in the corner, stay there.
Я з великою повагою хочу передати.
I would like to give the floor to Mr. Stanislav Kravchenko, who represents today the Higher Specialized Court of Ukraine, the higher instance for cassational appeals. Good afternoon. When I started my work with the Open Court project. My colleagues and me, we did not understand this initiative correctly and in full. We didn't want to make the judicial society close. We just thought it is an odd thing. First of all, the law of Ukraine go that all court trials are registered by video devices, and this is enough. But at the same time, when during the previous year we heard many times the allegations that we are closed, we decided, well, we can make our courts more open. But when, upon the findings, we looked through the video footage, I understood that I was wrong in my initial opinion. Of course, I think that this is the question to the judges. I always thought that whatever conflicts may happen in a court sitting, the main person responsible is the head, the chairman of the sitting, that he is responsible for the environment, for the atmosphere. But in the video footage which we demonstrated today, we can see that we have a lot to address, a lot of matters to address. So it is obvious for us that this is a positive step, and we will continue activities in this field and discuss the situation in the National School of Judges. We shall talk about the standards. What can a judge afford to do, and what is unaffordable during a court trial in so thank you for your study. It has made us to rethink many things. I would like to give the floor to Ms. Iryna Ozymok, represent investor and NIS Enterprise Fund. Thank you. Thank you, Stanislav. Good afternoon. I would like to remind you that Western NAS Enterprise Fund has a budget of $3 million, and it is supported by the government of the USA. And we support here projects in Ukraine. The first is involvement of citizens into the processes in Ukraine, and also partnership between private and public sectors and business sector, and also when the funding is over, we should be capable, those projects should be capable to proceed. So what concerns the judiciary reform, citizens should be involved into decision-making processes. During several months of the Open Court project, 475 members of civil societies took part in this process. You can see that even Donetsk, Lugansk region and Crimea were were also involved. There were participants from those regions, although not so numerous. We can see here that very many judges rejected citizens to be observers and to monitor and to make videos, despite the law of fair court, which allows these scenes to citizens of Ukraine. We have more than 20 universities as our partners in 18 regions, as Stanislav said, because the students should have the opportunity to practice so that they know what are adequate standards they should strive to achieve. And despite the external challenges which Ukraine is facing now, Ukraine invite investors and it is according to the Transparency International rating is on the bottom place among the 75 countries. This is bad anti-corruption efforts which are not fruitful. They are to be blamed in the low investment attractiveness of Ukraine. Moreover, internally in Ukraine, the courts are on the top of the rating where among governmental institutions which are distrusted by Ukrainian society. And I would like to say that open court report competition is over, but you can take participation in activities on our website of opencourt.ua. So video footage which you would provide to us to our website, this would be demonstrated to the whole Ukrainian society. Good afternoon. I am Oksana, Tsymbrivska, an expert of support to justice sector reforms in Ukraine. We are working on the issues of access to justice and protection. The Open Court initiative became very interesting to us, and we started to research the matter, which other countries have practices where activists come to courts and they shoot films, they shoot video footages in courts. There are no such best practice in Europe. So Ukraine is pioneering, and Ukraine is establishing now our best practice, which is very positive, because donors, when they invited and our governmental authorities ask us for best practices from France, from Great Britain, and now we can see how Ukraine build its own best practice. Stanislav said about the justice standards. We believe that this is very important, but I would like to stress on the other aspect of reforms. The initiative of Open Court reporter process, it forms the culture of justice. In these videos, we can see not only judges, but also prosecutors and lawyers, and professional behavior of all participants in the process, their ethical conduct, their communication, their respect to each other, their professionalism is very important important. Indeed, in Ukraine, the culture should be formed, the culture of behavior and the culture of justice in Ukraine. When we can see these positive cases, videos, so that they do not impress us as a surprise, so that these standards are commonplace. Moreover, the lawyers also should understand, because we have been working more with the lawyers. And prosecutors also should understand their reputational risks if they come without an adequate preparedness to a court seat, and they should understand the consequences. And open processes, they also have effect on impartiality of justice. We have recently visited one trial, and we asked what means can help Ukraine to ensure impartiality and independence of courts, and openness of a court was named on the first top place. So filming and of all processes is on the plans of this project, so that any doubts in judge or lawyer's behavior can be watched over. To our mind, when we saw the first findings and when we saw the picture in different regions of Ukraine, we understood it is important not to stop but to move forward and to reach conclusions and to learn the lessons and use the lessons, and so that we can achieve higher standards of professional practice.
Пану Леоніду.
Leonid Lazebnyi. Oksana has mentioned this research views of the participants of criminal process. I found some interesting percentage. The judges. 9% of judges believe that the representatives of executive bodies influence them, and 9% believe that the mass media influences them. The judges understand that the society via mass media sees what they do. And we cannot say what the open court started. With that, we start the realistic openness of judicial trials. The court started as public establishment of justice. Why have they become closed? Why some judges believe that they can close themselves in their offices, even close the toilets, so that the public is not anywhere. We understand why. We as a society which survived through this justice, when there were these special 3 persons, when the chief communist, the chief militiaman, and the chief prosecutor would consider the case and pass the sentence in criminal cases. So now we are cleaning this system, and many judges under this project, under our initiative, many judges do not care that they are videoed. Some say that this is not comfortable. Frankly speaking, I see cameras now and I also feel not very comfortably. But, esteemed friends, people who go to do justice, they understand that this is a public function and they should be ready to publicity, to be public. The camera, the video camera does not lie. The video camera shows different violations and also it videos high professionalism and the real justice. So we should not be afraid of the video cameras. We should be working with the professional courts. Everyone says that when a person with the video camera comes to the court, all the participants of the case become most disciplined. And that creates the atmosphere of real justice. I'm sure so the open court is what will restore the trust to justice. So first of all, thank you for what you are doing. I believe it is important to develop the stereotypes, basically to ruin the stereotypes which are in heads of many people. Thank you for what you are doing. Do the participants of the competition receive any feedback from you? Will you select the winner of the best video? What are the plans for the next year? Basically, on the 14th of December in the Supreme Court of Ukraine, there was an award ceremony, and we selected 13 candidates for the grand prize. And these are examples of negative and positive justice that were videoed by these people. These were people who, some of them even came back from the ATO. And on one of the videos, the worker of the prosecutor's office addressed very rudely the person who was fighting in ATO zone. That person was in the Palace of Justice because, and this person, for this person it was important that his work was recognized. These are probably the most talented people in the world, but they need support. And many million people are ready to give their lives for Ukraine. They are ready to work for Ukraine. And the plans for 2016 is a mass regional representation. We would like to have 10,000, 20,000 videos per year. We have to develop this standard when people have formulated their rules and standards. We need to take young people from the second, the third year of studies, maybe the first year of studies, and demonstrate what's the standard. And when they finish their profession, they will be, when they finish their education, they will understand it. So we will be working with educational establishments and will continue our cooperation with courts. I would like to add that coming here received the question from colleagues. They say, okay, these people come here, video, why do they do it? Many people do not understand that they can join the reform. Even if it is not my case, which is considered by the court, but this small activity, an hour, 2 hours of video, may have a huge effect. This should be done in mass so that courts feel the pressure. Because now we know there are many investigations made by journalists, but they do not end up in anything. And for us, it is very important to make another step, to make it so that these videos are taken into account, and those judges and prosecutors who violate some rules, they should be responsible for that. I would like to add it is important that these videos, that there is some consequence, some result. The public sees it, and this is one thing, but it is important that it is important to have some disciplinary mechanisms in the system. These documents are to be submitted to disciplinary commissions, and there are many videos. And we need to think about who will be the team of people who will continue this work. If a lawyer did not prepare well to the process, so that there are some consequences, so that the lawyer is warned in the disciplinary commission, so that he understands that that's very serious, that the work in the court is of importance, and this profession itself is of importance. It is important to think of how we will move forward and how we can influence the consequences. Thank you. I am convinced that in the judicial system we have many good, knowledgeable people, decent people, integral people, but within the last few months you see what are the trends in the society. A lot has been said from TV about the work of the courts, and we're interested in the fact that people who behave, they should not stay in their positions. First, when I watched these videos, I thought that maybe this is good for the so-called judge's dossier. A person can answer all the tests well, but if you look at this video, what is the attitude of these people to mass media, to people, then the members of the commission who assess this person will have many questions. Thank you.
Буквально одну ремарку. Вчора парламент
Yesterday the parliament submitted the package of reforms viewed by Venice Commission. According to unofficial data, we expect that half of the judicial corps will be replaced. I wouldn't be thinking about whether this will be half or quarter. I agree with my colleagues. We need to act selectively. The system of justice should have only those people who are honest and who are experts. Don't dismiss everyone and then hire new ones. Who should stay, who should not? This is the open court project will demonstrate to us. I believe that's not the project, it's a movement. It's a movement, really. Thank you, colleagues. Any other questions? Once not, then thank you, colleagues, for coming. Thank you for what you are doing, and I hope to see you in the new year. Thank you.
Колеги, я нагадую, що наш наступний
Our next briefing is at 2.